Hi, everyone. This is Dee, your favorite self-love and mindset coach. And I have with us today Cedric Edison, who is not only a health and wellness coach, but he is also a motivational speaker. And I'm going to let him introduce himself to you here and we'll get started.
Hello, Miss D. How are you?
I am fantastic. I'm so happy you joined me today. And I'm so inspired by your story already. And I haven't even gotten it all.
Oh, that warms my heart. That warms my heart. And I apologize to your listeners and viewers because I am in the car. But you know, when you have things going on, you do what you have to do to make it happen, right?
That's right. So,
So
Cedric,
a little about my
yes, please.
little about myself, guys. I am a motivational speaker in the college and high school realm where I speak around resilience, leadership, and mental health awareness. Two-time best-selling author, a fearless an anthology, as well as articles of life. In the process of writing number three. I don't know why. You just get bit by the bug once you start writing. You publish the first one, you can't stop after that. Father, Marine Corps vet. I've kind of done a lot. Been in gangs, sold drugs. I tell people now, I went from selling dope to selling hope. So
Oh, I love
uh,
that. I mean, not that you sold dope, but now that you're selling hope. That that
so
lets
that's a little bit about me.
that lets a lot of people know that may be feeling like they're in a dark place like that and they don't know how or if that they can get out of that. So listening to a story like yours helps them understand that they can get out of it and that they could create this whole new beautiful life for themselves too. So tell us how you got on your wellness journey. I'd like to hear about that, your personal story regarding that, because it's pretty powerful as we were chatting before we started recording. I think that that would be really something powerful for people to hear.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny, because I got out of the gang at the age of 28, and I thought I was living right up to this point, and and I had gone to jail, and a lot of stuff had happened, and at this point in my life, I'm living my best life, as people would say. I'm making high five figures. Everything is fine. I'm working for a Fortune 500, and I'm living literally a dream because every day I'm like, man, this is this kid from the hood that got kicked out of the military and all of this. Here I am. I've made it. And one day, one of my people thought I had been drinking. A buddy of mine was like, "Hey man, you been drinking?" I'm like, "Heck no, dude. I just ran a whole meeting. Like, y'all would be able to tell." And he's like, "Man, well, you were slurring." I was like, "Nah, dude. I had a really, really bad headache that day, which was common. I would get migraines, and I attributed it to that. So finally, after much pushing from my colleagues, I finally go to the ER. And when I go in, they triage me. And it just seemed weird because I had never had this happen before. They put the little thing on my finger and they're taking my pulse. And one of the nurse, she leaves out and goes into the side room and rushes back in with another lady. And I'm like, well, that's strange. I've never seen that. Like, sir, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, I'm just here because my job wants me to come. And I'm like, well, you're in the middle of having a stroke. And I'm like, what? No. I'm like, I'm 34 years old. You got the wrong guy, not me.
Right.
And so we fast forward and they do all the EKG and they tell me that I have an aortic aneurysm. And if I don't have surgery within the next 24 to 48 hours, I would die.
Wow.
And so that was that surgery. And I can remember on the way to the operating room, just the first time in my life I ever felt powerless and like I had really just let go because the stats to coming out of that were so low for me.
Mm.
And I thought I wasn't coming out. And I had made peace with it. Like, it's nothing you can do at this point. You're on your way, dude. Like, it's nothing you can do.
Right.
And I let go and I said, God, if you get me out of this, I'm changing. Right? Because I was still partying, not selling drugs and not in my mind doing anything bad, but single guy, making decent money. Yeah, we're gonna YOLO, as they say. YOLO.
Living large, huh?
Yeah, yeah. And so I wake up and I'm in ICU, and after I can talk, after a couple of days I could talk, and I just remember there was this older gentleman, and I remember seeing his family come in, and like I could hear you and hear myself talking. I just had like this loudest sound ever telling me pray for them. And I was like, okay, I did say I was going to change. And so I just started becoming obedient. And I called the lady over and prayed for her. And after that, I was on the phone with a buddy of mine. And this is sometime after, because even during my recovery time, I ended up getting fired from that job because it was just a story. I ended up getting fired, and that ultimately led to me being homeless. And I'm on the phone with a buddy of mine, and I'm like, hey, man, I got to do something. And he was like, you'll never know what I just did. And I was like, what? And he was like, man, I'm becoming a life coach. And I'm like, life coach, okay, cool. And I was like, well, man, I just finished this surgery, dude, and I don't want nobody to ever experience that. And I typed in Google health coach because I was like, I wonder if it exists, if life exists. Health has to. Google, help me out.
Right.
And HCI, the Health Coach Institute, popped up, and I watched all the videos, and now here we are. I'm an alum. You're from there, and here we are.
That's amazing. And I have a nursing background, so I'm just going to back up to let people know what an aortic aneurysm is if they don't know what that actually is. So your aorta is the largest blood vessel in your body that goes down the center of your body. And an aneurysm is a weak point in any blood vessel that makes a bulging. You think of it as like a weakness. If you blow up a balloon and it has a weak spot in it and it bulges out. And so because it is thinner and it's lost its integrity, it can burst, just like that weak spot in a balloon would be the first part to burst in that. And your aorta being a huge blood vessel in your body, if that blood vessel would happen to burst, then like Cedric said, you're done. You're out of here. So, and a lot of times it is very touch and go when a surgery like that is done because it is such a major invasive surgery and it's such a large blood vessel that it can take you out anyway. So Cedric, it's really a miracle that you're sitting here chatting with us today. And that alone just gives me goosebumps because you're obviously meant, you made that promise and you're obviously meant for a higher purpose. And so you pursued that, you followed through with what you said, which is amazing because so many people don't, take the infamous New Year's resolution, for example. um, we say we're going to do all these things and then we don't do them. So the fact that you not only made that promise, you followed through with it is just so incredible. And I'm so proud of you for that. That's so amazing. And now you're helping all these people. And I just think that's incredible. And I'm so happy you're sitting here with me and you're able to tell this amazing, incredible, powerful story.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a blessing. It's a blessing.
Yes, absolutely. So we did chat about several things. You are an author, and we will put all your information in the description box below this video for people to contact you and find out about all the things that you do. But one of the things that you mentioned was that you were in a gang and you sell hope now and not dope anymore. So what would you say if a young man especially was listening to this video right now and he has decided to or is already a part of the gang life, how would you encourage him to know that he could change his life and do something different in the face of fear? Because I know you mentioned that fear is a big factor in some of your decisions.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm glad you asked that. Um, and I can only say what worked for me. Um, and what worked for me may not work for everybody, but it is a tool that you could try to help build the life you want. Um, but the first thing I would say is find out what true love is. Um, because what I found is most people join gangs because the lack of love, and we feel this false sense of love from the other gang members. And also ask yourself, is this what you want to do forever? I know it was a no for me. I wanted to feel the feelings forever, the false love, because it was filling a void. But ask yourself, what is it that you truly, truly want? Um, and don't be afraid to embrace that. Whatever that thing is, you have to go after it just as hard as you sought that gang membership. Um, because it's not free to join a gang. You have to pay some dues to be affiliated. And so, yeah, ask yourself what it is you want. And even in the face of fear, ask yourself, are the people that's around you, that's in your gang, are they daily doing the things that you want for the long term? Because y'all, we and this is to the young person, that person that may be thinking about joining a gang or thinking about getting out. It does not last forever. I was in the gang for a better part of what, 2 decades almost. And I've never seen one person retire without any stripes. It's either the jailhouse or the penitentiary. Those are the only two choices. And ask yourself, is that truly, truly what you want? Because most of us love our mama. And if your mama is the reason that you're being pushed towards the gang, there's somebody out there that loves you. Do you want to let that person down? Do you want them to come see you in prison? It's not a good feeling. And if those people that's around you daily aren't doing those things that you want to see yourself doing 30 years from now, then remove yourself. But I say all this, and I want you to understand that it's simple. You just do different. But it will be one of the hardest things you will ever do in your life, but also the best decision you'll ever make because of the ride or die love. Like, you literally could go to war with somebody and you have that love for them, but it's not true love. It's not true love. And it's going to be hard to give them up. Be the least knowledgeable person in every room you go into, and be the brokest person in every room you go into. If you can start to do those two things, you'll start to surround yourself with some of the best people around. And like my mama said, if you hang around a homeless man long enough, you might not be homeless, but you'll have some homeless tendencies. And
Hmm.
if you hang around a millionaire long enough, you might not become a millionaire, but you'll have some millionaire tendencies. So get
Right,
around the right people.
right. Get around the right people. And I know personally through my journey was quite a bit different than yours for sure. But the changes that I made before I made them, I didn't feel like I deserved them and I didn't feel worthy of them and I didn't always feel capable of them. So if someone, especially a young person, is feeling those things, how would you encourage them to get through that or embrace those feelings, but do what they need to do anyway? How would you encourage them to do that?
I say this all the time. Drink the right tea. And I think about the Kermit. Everybody, a few years back, Kermit was like, "What's the tea?" Right? Um, but that's really an acronym, and it's the T. The letter T is the thinking, right? So, what are you thinking? And in terms of thinking, we're talking words. So, tell yourself some of the most positive things, right? When you don't feel worthy, just do the opposite. I am worthy. And if you find yourself in that loop, I don't deserve, or whatever negative thought pattern is, interrupt that thought pattern and tell yourself the opposite. And it's going to feel weird initially, but do it until it doesn't feel weird. Because the thinking is going to control the way we feel, the emotions that's behind it, right? And so now with the T and the E. And so if we have the right words or the right thinking, and just to for you guys listening, like to understand the thinking part and the words. So what I want you to do right now is not think about a spotted elephant. Most people that heard that, just because you heard the word, as much as you try not to, you pictured a spotted elephant. So words
Absolutely.
are powerful. Words are powerful, and our thoughts are solely words. Even if you're on a spectrum somewhere, um, you still, even if you see a picture, you associate words to it. So the thinking, and that'll control the emotions. And if you're feeling like you don't deserve, it's what I call do a 180. Take 3 minutes and sit and visualize yourself doing, thinking, saying whatever it is you want to feel. Oh, I'm pissed off. Do a 180. Stop. Stop everything. Go in the bathroom for 3 minutes and just visualize yourself and tell yourself that you're not mad anymore. And eventually you won't be, or you'll be better. And the way we think, the way we feel, always creates an action. That's how we're going to act. If I don't feel worthy, I'm not going to take the action
Mm,
towards that thing. So
yes.
drink the right tea. The thinking, control your thinking, manipulate your emotions, and take aligned action.
I love that. I hadn't heard that before actually, and I really like that a lot. So one of the other things, since we're talking about the gang thing, and you are a man, and I told you earlier prior to us recording that I'm really super excited to have some men come forward to be on my podcast because in this man's world, it's a little lopsided the other direction in the world of coaching. So I'm super excited to have a man come on and be a positive role model for the young men, especially in this world. So, if you were talking to a young man who feels like his masculinity is challenged because he wants to start doing more positive things and his friends are giving him grief about it, what advice would you give him?
Mm. Man, if a, if there's a person out there that doesn't want you to grow? Is he truly your friend or is he a hater? Because a hater wants you to stay where you at. They want you to stay right there along with them and be miserable with them. And that's how, and that's the nut, but that's all growth. Because if you don't have haters, you're not growing.
Mm.
So increase your haters. Increase your haters, and but be mindful of again your circle.
Yeah.
Watch your circle. And if your circle isn't encouraging you to grow, find a new circle. And again, easier said than done.
Right.
And they'll test it because I was hearing it. I was leading the game, right? Oh man, you, and I don't know, so guys, this is just the way the talk. It's not my beliefs or anything. Oh man, you being a punk and you selling out
Mm-hmm.
because you leaving the game, right? But that was just them trying to keep me in that. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm not a punk. Like, I want more for me. Like, I want kids. Like, this is not, it's cool that we have this and I'm allowed to sell the drugs and all of this, but this is not what I want.
Right.
So take it with a grain of salt. And again, the people that are telling you the worst things or the things to keep you where you are, those are the people you need to run from. Run from those people.
That's such a powerful piece of advice. It's not always easy, but it is very powerful because I am completely agreeing with you that if someone is truly our friend, they're going to want what's best for us, even if that looks different for us than it does for them. So I think that's a very powerful piece of advice. And I've never heard anyone say increase your haters before, but that makes sense. I mean, because if you've got people that you're rubbing cross grain, then you're doing something right, right?
Right, right.
Oh, so one of the other things that you talked about is you are a motivational speaker, and you told me you are involved in a non-for-profit organization. So that sounds like it's really, really incredibly amazing and provides a lot of resources and opportunities for young people. So I'd love it if you would tell us more about that.
The nonprofit
Mm-hmm.
speaking. Yeah, so the nonprofit that I'm with, I consult with them, and it's an organization for that houses and cares, and they provide therapeutic care for males from the age of 9 to 17 in the foster care system, and helping out with the equine coaching and therapist up there. Um, Volunteer, like it's just a lot of stuff that I kind of do along that. But again, like a lot of the stuff I do now is to help people avoid the pitfalls that I came across, and that's a very vulnerable population, because they have a lot of trauma, and the families have been shattered, so it could be very easy for those guys to end up in the gang again, looking for that false sense of love, and then the money and all the other stuff that comes with it, the girls, the cars, and all of this stuff, right?
Right.
um, I want to be able to help them, avoid those pitfalls. I tell everybody now, I show up for one, and I'm like, one, I'm like, yeah, because I don't know who the one person is going to be that I'm going to help inspire every day, just to be that guy, just to do. Oh, I'm at the wrong place. I'm just the dude. Yeah. I'm just the dude that's showing up for the one guy, and I'm the dude that's showing up as the dude I wished I would have had. That's it.
Right. And you said vulnerable population. So could you explain to people what you mean by vulnerable population?
So the vulnerable population is when I say that, it's the trauma that's been done. And I apologize, like I'm moving around. It's the trauma that's been done. Um, and people try and argue and say, well, there's no trauma. Um, but what happens is when you break a family apart, that's trauma.
Yes.
And so we could, and we boys, a lot of them have been, because we also help sexual victims or perpetrators to help change those thoughts around. And so when you're in that situation, you could seek out some of to fill some of the voids that you have in your life, be it mom, dad, or whatever. So that makes, and that's what I mean when I say vulnerable population, because there are a lot of things that gets broken in their personal life that they can try and feel. So they would go out and seek negative things.
Right. Now, do you do speaking for, I know you said you do colleges, so you actually go to different colleges and speak?
Yes, I'm always on a plane going somewhere.
Okay.
Play, but I also speak locally too. Like I go to other, in the place where I work, it's a residential treatment center. So I go to other treatment centers in probably a 200-300 mile radius and just kind of share my story and hope, you know, I give the hope to the kids.
Yes.
So hopes that they don't start selling dope or join a gang or whatever.
Right. And I think it's a very powerful thing for them to realize that there can be a different lifestyle, even though you grew up or were surrounded by that in your younger years, that you can choose something different, even though it's so prevalent in your environment. So I think that's a very powerful message.
You said a very important word, and you say we could choose, and I say this a lot, and I can't remember where I first heard it, but it resonates with me. Like no matter what, like where you are in your life right now, yeah, it could be hard, and it's gonna be. It's inevitable. Life is hard, and the thing or the life you want to have, the steps we have to take to get there
Mhm.
may be hard, but the beauty of life is we get to choose our hard.
Right.
Every day you choose your heart. Which one? So to me, since it's going to be hard either way, I might as well take the hard route to the thing I want.
Right. Right. To the thing that's going to give you the life that you desire, that's going to be more fulfilling for you, right? In all the ways. I don't know if know who Lisa Nichols is. Do you know who she is?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, she's such a powerful speaker. Like I've been listening to her a lot lately, just so that I can improve my language, how I bring things forward, because she talks about that a lot, how it's so important to bring things forward in the most powerful way. But I lost my train of thought. There was something I was going to tell you that she says that because she's so freaking amazing, man. Um, I know one of the things she says is do it with your knees shaking, like even if
Mm,
you're afraid, do it with your knees shaking, but just keep moving forward, and don't think that it has to be perfect, because she was in the movie The Secret. Have you watched that?
mhm.
Yeah, so
Oh
she
yeah.
said, you know, if I had waited till I lost that few pounds or whatever, she goes, Lisa Nichols would have been the secret because she would have never done it. So you can't wait till things, you know what I mean? So you can't wait till things
Right.
look perfect, and you have to just pick what you want and make it work for you. And you know, you said something earlier that you said it's so simple, but it's hard. And I think that's so true. Some of the simplest things, they're not complicated ideas at all. They're really super simple ideas, but they are some of the things that we overcomplicate. We overthink
Right.
them, and they have to be look this certain way. And you know, honestly, it looks different for all of us. And I love that you started out something you said, I can't tell you what will work for you, but I can tell you what worked for me. And I think that's a really, really important concept for people to grasp when they're on these journeys to better themselves and create the life that they truly want, because it doesn't look the same for everyone. Your morning routine doesn't look the same. The way you look at the world is different because you're not someone else, you know. um, and one of the other things, and I actually said this in my last podcast episode with Amanda, but it's so valuable. You know, one of the other things Lisa Nichols says is like, if you want me to do Oprah, I'm going to fail you every time because you're not that person, right? She goes, but if you want me to be Lisa, you know, I can do Lisa. So I think it's really powerful for people to realize that, you know, you're Cedric, you do things the Cedric way, and it's super powerful and impactful the way that you do it. And I'm over here being D, being equally impactful and equally powerful, but doing it in a completely different way than Cedric does it. And that's the way it's supposed to be. We're supposed to, and it sounds really simple to be authentically yourself. So that's one of the ideas that's really super simple. Just be authentically you. Just do that, you know? But it seems like it's a really, really difficult thing for a lot of us to do. So these young people who are having trouble embracing their authentic selves, even though that's a simple concept, what would you say to them?
Mm, how much time do I have? No. The first thing is ask yourself, who do you want to be?
Mm,
Before we do anything or try to accomplish anything in that realm of you, of us, right? We have to know what that is,
yes.
right? Like hey, I want a good paying job. Well, to a homeless man, $5 an hour is a good paying job.
Right.
So what is it you? That's not going to work for me. So I have to define who it is I want to be.
Yeah.
And now I will say, when when I ask myself that question, that was one of the hardest questions for me to answer because I had went a long time without ever really thinking about that. And the reason I say that is because if somebody starts to take this advice and do those things, you will doubt yourself in answering that question. So continue to answer that question. Even to this day, I'm nationally known, a two-time best-selling author. I still ask myself, who am I being? Who do I want to be? Because a new level, you're going to face a new devil and you have to do some more growing. So
Mm,
who who is it you really want to be? And I, I'm working with this a little bit. And if you don't know who or what you want to be, you can find that out in answering why you want to be whatever way it is you want to see. Or if you don't know, it's ask yourself, why do I want to change?
right.
Right.
That
And so you'll
motivating
start to see
factor
these,
you mentioned earlier.
right. right. It's so important because why do I want to change if I don't know what I want to be? Well, I want to change because I want to leave a legacy, or I want to be the best parent, or I want to inspire, impact, or whatever. And now it's like, okay, now I have something impactful. Let's pull that word. Oh, I want to invoke or impact lives. Okay, how? How do, and so now, and remember we were talking earlier, and this is how I came up with the scientific method for success. It's you question it, observe, look. Self-reflection is the best thing. Reflect on yourself. I mean, ask yourself, who am I being right now? If it gets hard. And
Right.
then from that baseline, pick the things that are good, keep them. The things that you don't want, start to pick those away,
Hmm.
and just start to ask your why. Um, does that answer your question? That's the
Yeah.
shortest version.
Yeah. No, that was
Because I
great.
I'll start going off on I'll give a whole workshop on it.
I think that's great. So, what area of the country are you in for these people who would like to have you come speak at their colleges or schools or whatever? And what's the youngest age you would go
Uh,
talk to? So, if there's like a, say, a junior high school that would like you to come speak because they're having maybe some issues that the young people could use a little encouragement or motivation to change their ways a little bit and make better choices. What's the youngest age and where are you?
so the youngest age to date, it was a group of they were between 8 and 11. And it was for a sports team, but it was an AAU. So these guys, like, it's a travel team, and they actually went on to the championship, and they won nationals actually.
Wow,
Um,
nice.
so I'll this is me. I'll go where I'm needed. I'm a plane ride away. I'm a plane, but I live in Austin. I live in Austin, Texas, but it doesn't matter. You can reach out, um, and like I tell people, small budget, big budgets. I do my best to make it not about the money. If there's a way, especially now with virtual, there's a way we can work together and co-create something to help these kids and help these students and adults as well.
Right.
There's no reason it shouldn't be. Um, I'm not Tony Robbins, and even if I was, I would never say, "Oh, well, that's my fee," and so that's it. No, we're gonna find a way to make it work. Virtual, I don't have to travel, so we can make something happen.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you mentioned Tony Robbins and he's awesome, but you're awesome. And I think that your message and your story is really powerful. So I hope that you continue to embrace that and continue to share that with people because I think it's absolutely amazing. Like it's such a powerful story, not just, I mean, and it's multifaceted, 360 success, 360 abundance. That's the one, that was what I was going to say that Lisa Nichols talks about.
Mm,
She talks about 360 abundance. So when you're looking at what you want, it's not just one facet. It's not just the money or just the following or whatever it is. It's 360 abundance. It's everything. It's the money, it's the connections, it's the friendships that you make along the way. It's all pieces of the story that fit together. And I love your story because it is that 360. You had your health, you had your dark space and time where you were doing the drugs and you were, like dealing with, you were actually in jail, you said too?
oh yeah,
Okay,
that was
so
my second
see,
home.
yeah, so you had all of these things and now you had a 360 like negative, and now you have like this 360 positive where you're making the money, you're touching lives, you're impacting people in a positive way and giving them hope that they could do the same thing in their own way, not your way, because you're Cedric and you're the only one that is you, and that is as it should be. So I think that's an absolutely beautiful thing, and I'm so grateful young people, especially, I'm a boy mom myself, and us girls, we're a little softer and gushier, and we tend to reach out more, but having powerful male role models for the young men in this world, and not just the young men, the men that are your age and older too, like they can look at you and take inspired action. I might be 56 or whatever age they are, but look, he changed his life around and he's still a man. I can do it too. And I love that. I absolutely love that because I think it's so powerful. There's so many strong women leaders for women who want to better themselves and stuff, but I think it's so different for men. It just is. And we can split hairs, and that's not meant to be a comment that is meant to put anybody down in any kind of way at all. It just is different. It's a different world. It's a different mindset. There's a different expectation. And I think it's really super important. There are men like you in this world who are teaching and uplifting and encouraging the young people of this world, especially the young men in this world, that they can still hold on to that masculinity and accomplish something that's beautiful and impactful and amazing. I just love that.
Thank you, thank you. I don't plan on. I'll stop when my everything stops. Like I'm gonna have to be horizontal and being viewed. That's when I'm done. That's
Yeah,
when I'm done.
yeah. And it's so important. I've been watching, like, because you said you're a nerd. I'm a nerd too. Like, I didn't realize I was a science nerd until I discovered people like Joe Dispenza and Greg Braden and Bruce Lipton and started listening to them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm a closet science geek. I didn't even know. Like, I didn't even know. I was so in the closet about it. I didn't even know myself. So but it's so fun to listen to these things. And one of the things that I have realized just here recently is that the sense of community and the sense of connection actually helps us live longer. Did you know that?
Oh yeah.
It
Oh
actually
yeah.
adds years to our lives, just the sense of connection with people. So I think for us to be reaching out and lifting each other up like this, it is important in so many different ways. But if you want a longer, more fulfilling, healthier life, this is part of it. And I just think that's so
Yeah.
amazing.
I started learning about, well, because I've been around horses for some years now. Well, all my life, but just getting back into them for some years now. Um, and the way they operate as a herd is closely related to us as humans.
Really?
And then just the energy. Mhm. Um, because there's most animals. I mean, at the end of the day, they're an animal, and so are we. We're just the higher ones. Like you hear the alpha male or who's in charge, and you can sense these things when you go to places. Oh, that's the person that's in charge. It's the same thing with the horses. We've just kind of lost touch in the energy portion of
Mm,
it.
yes.
And there's all research that'll show like the connection with humans and horses, like heart to heart. But don't get me going down that road. I'll geek out for real. And then, but it's funny you mention that because I have my hat on. Your network equals your net worth.
Oh,
That and I don't know if you've heard but he has a wonderful, wonderful quote where he says, "You are the average of the five people you spend the most time around."
yes. I missed who
So
you said that. Who was it?
Zig, Zig Ziglar.
Zig Ziglar. Okay.
Mhm.
Yes, I've heard that
Yeah,
too.
and it's so true, and that's why I was saying earlier. Be the least knowledgeable
Hmm.
and be the brokest in the room, and
Right.
then you're in the right room,
Yeah.
and then when you shut up and listen.
Mm,
Because
yeah.
I had that problem. I was being
It's
around
so
and I'm
It's
in
one of
the
those
room,
simple
like
yet hard concepts, right?
you're a student. You're a student. Even now, like now, my mentors and my coaches, like I think I'm one of the greatest speakers in the world.
Yeah,
But when they come, they show up in the room, I shut up and
yeah,
I'm a student. Okay, what questions do I have to ask? Right? Which could go because then the quality of, I always say, man, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions.
yes,
So
yeah,
if you're not asking good questions, you're ultimately not going to have good results. You ask some great questions, you'll have great results. But the
right.
only way you're going to have those questions is you have to be quiet and pay attention to the teachers,
Hmm.
even if you are one yourself.
Yes. I 100% agree with you on that because I noticed that in my own personal journey that I wasn't asking the right questions, and I still find myself not asking the right questions sometimes. So learning how to ask those powerful questions, to dig in deeper and peel back another layer is really profound. But it's not always easy to find the right questions to ask either. So how would you suggest people find those better questions?
Um, Ask all the dumb ones you can. And I know that's, but you'll the reason I say that though is because we all think, oh man, that's a dumb question, I'm not going to ask it, right?
Yeah,
No, ask it, because somebody in that vicinity may be thinking about that, and if you're the only one there, get the question answered so you'll now have the answer to utilize. And as you start to ask questions, you'll what'll ultimately happen is you'll go back and be like, man, I should have asked that. Man, I should have asked that. And it's it's no different than a sport. Asking questions, being a journalist, being a podcaster, a question asker, the more you ask questions, the better you're going to get at it.
right.
The first time I did these things, it was and now it's like, okay, I got to remember, breathe through when you're talking. Okay, share the air in the room. Now I know what 30 seconds feels like. It's okay, you need to taper it down, right? So you just get in the practice of it. Ask all the questions all the time, and you will get better.
So it's just like working another muscle. I never thought of it that way until I just heard you say it. And then I'm like, oh yeah, he's right. You're so right. It's that simple that you just keep on doing it until you get better at it, just like anything else. So that's really powerful. Really. I mean, like I needed to hear that today too. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
All right, you're welcome. And it's something that I learned in leadership too. But here's a good way to get good at is the people that's around you, get to know them. Let me say it this way: the strangers that are around you, like if it's your workplace, or an organization, you know those people, but do you know them, right? Like, what's their favorite color? What's their favorite food? Now, it would be kind of weird to just walk up and just start interviewing. Hey, what's your favorite color? Okay, and this? Oh, and this? And what's this? It's just gonna be weird, right? So find a way to get to know them and incorporate your questions into the conversation.
Mm,
I know I do that in some diversity trainings and almost all my leadership trainings, because it's just going to help. And plus, you just get to know people and you're increasing your network.
yeah. And people are fascinating. Like I love talking to people. I'm one of those people who, as long as people remain respectful, I'll talk to anybody about anything. Like I am so open and diverse in topics that I'm interested in, and I much prefer things that are really deep. And like I always tell people, if you start out your conversation with me by going, you're going to think I'm crazy, but like, give me that stuff. Like, that's my favorite stuff. If you think I'm going to think you're crazy, whatever that is, that's what we need to be talking about because I love it. Like, I
Right.
love to get into that kind of stuff, so I love talking to people because I'm so open-minded and non-judgmental about things. And if you can talk about maintain respect, not you personally, but anybody, if a person can maintain respect when they're talking to me about it, then no topic is off limits, except my personal life. Then, that's a different story. But, as far as topics go, yeah, I'm all about it because I learn. That's how you learn, right? You learn, you have conversations. Someone says something you may not necessarily agree with, but you listen to it and you look at it from that perspective, and it may change something inside of you that where you can look at something a little differently than you did before, or start asking more questions and keep on learning. And I mean, I love it. I love it. That's great.
That's my. I'm still trying to meet a stranger. One of these days, I will.
Oh, that's funny. I hope not. I hope you don't. You might I hope somebody surprises you, but I hope you don't meet a stranger, because I think it's great that you're so open that you don't. But maybe people will surprise you a few times. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I welcome it. I welcome it. I'm open to just about anything and everything. So
Well, Cedric, I'm so happy you came on with me today. It's been an awesome conversation. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I could talk to you for another hour, but tell people where they can find you if they want to. And of course, I'll put all this information in the description box below, but tell people where they can find you if they'd like to get in touch with you.
yes, yes, guys. I keep it real simple, probably because I'm a Marine. So um, you can find me everywhere at Cedric Edison, LinkedIn, Facebook. What's the other one?
Instagram.
Instagram. I don't do the Snapchats or the TikToks
Yeah.
just yet. But you can find Cedric Edison on Instagram. Actually, on Instagram, you can find me at the said CED speaks, and that's plural. The said speaks. But if you just type in Cedric Edison, you can find me, and you type that in Barnes and Nobles, Amazon. You'll find the books and all that other good stuff.
Awesome. Awesome. And I hope people reach out to you so that you can share this fabulous story far and wide, because I think it's an amazing one. And just I mean, it's inspiring. It really is. It's an inspiring story. And I'm so glad that I got to be a party to you sharing it with me personally, because I love that. And I'm going to close this out. Is there any last bits of advice that you have for us today?
Um, the best time to have planted a tree, and I know I'm probably messing this up, was yesterday. And the best time now is to plant it now. And the reason I say that, guys, is get started with living the life you want to live, because someday is not a day of the week. It'll never come when that perfect situation you're waiting for, well, I got to have this amount of money, or that all these stars have to be aligned before I get something done. That doesn't exist. That's perfectionism, and that's a facade. It's a mirage that'll keep you stagnant and procrastinating. So get started today with one small thing that could cause a ripple, and then that ripple causes another ripple. And then understand, and I'll end it on this: good enough and done is better than perfect and pending.
Oh, absolutely. I love that. That is freaking awesome. Great advice. Thank you again, Cedric. I'm so happy you came on this show, and I wish you all the success in spreading your story around. I'm going to do my part by, you know, having you on here and getting you out to my growing audience. And I'd invite everybody to like and share this content, subscribe so that you don't miss another amazing episode with incredible guests like Cedric, right? And thank you so much for joining us. And I will see you on the next episode. As always, mwah, I love you all.
Bye bye.